1, 2, 3, SCA!
Okay, so technique tonight, we've been starting to look at knee bars. General rule is, in competition, you're not allowed to do knee bars, IBJJF until brown belt. But I think it's a good idea for people to start training them a lot earlier than that. You know, I'll teach white belts once they've got an idea of what a submission is. I'm happy for them to learn knee bars, as long as they know to apply with control. I think it's a bad idea to introduce something when you've been training 6, 7 years to suddenly go, okay, here's a whole new set of techniques, because you're going to have a bunch of bad habits that's going to get you messed up. So, you know, here we do typically let people start training knee bars, figure fours and things like that at a way earlier stage, but everything obviously controlled. And when we're sparring here, the rule is always you agree with the other person you're sparring with what rule set you're using at the beginning of the sparring, so there's no surprising anybody. Okay, so starting off with a takedown, and it's a fun takedown. He's going to hit an underhook on me, and I'm going to get the whizzer on here, okay? So typically we're looking here for position, fighting for hand position, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to come up beside him with this whizzer, and I'm going to step round and step back and drop his leg up. When his leg comes up here, I can fall off and go straight into my knee bar. For the knee bar, I don't go into a tight figure four, because that gives way too much rotation here. I want my foot down into his heel, I'll cross at the ankles, and I'm squeezing my knees and pulling this in to get that knee bar. So that was the first technique that we looked at. The next technique that we looked at was still going for a knee bar. I'm in position, I'm passing his guard. And at this point, I'm going to slide my knee around his hip. So I'm controlling this leg, I slide around and sit. Again, my foot's up here in his hip, my other foot becomes behind his heel, squeeze and lift my hips for that knee bar. So that's basically the same knee bar set up from two different positions. Now we're going to look at a slightly different knee bar. I'm going for my knee cup. For my knee cup, it's very important that I've got an underhook. What sometimes happens is he swims and he starts to come up. So he's going to step up and try to go to my back. As he steps up, I swim through. Keep my feet on him. Keep him square. This foot's in his butt. Cross at the ankles. Squeeze. Lift my hips for the knee bar. For this, I could tighten it up. Always my knee bar by putting my face into the ankle. Get across tight. Push my face into that. And that's going to come on tighter because we're taking some slack out of the whole set of joints. The next one we looked at, very similar. I'm in a turtle position. This gentleman's been a little bit dopey and he just lets this leg between my legs. Okay? At any point, if that leg is between there, I'm going to take my hand, I'm going to step up, swim through. Again, come up to my knee bar. Squeeze, lift, knee bar.
Knee bar.
Knee bar. Next one we looked at. He's in my closed guard. He stands up. And this is basically the same technique we saw at the beginning, but inverted. So I'm just going to open my guard, drop my knee down here, bring my leg through, push with his butt through, and straight on my knee bar there. So we've got a number of different setups for the knee bar there. All similar knee bars coming off of slightly different setups. All of them very effective. In the coming weeks, we're going to come and look on some other setups and some defense. So thank you. Good training.